The taste of Ryan's lips was like biting into a summer storm. Sharp, unexpected, and alive with the kind of electricity that makes your veins hum. We were deep into the rehearsal, our bodies scripted into this tangle on the sagging couch of my cramped Brooklyn walk-up, the lines from the play blurring into something dangerously real. That's when the door crashed open, and Jake, my rock-solid, straight-as-a-board roommate, stood there, keys dangling from his fist, his blue eyes locking onto us like we just hijacked his favorite baseball game. But he didn't freak, didn't slam the door or drop a bomb of judgment. He just blinked once, twice, then forced a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "Whoa, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt the magic," he said, voice casual as if he'd caught us binge-watching Netflix. He stepped over the threshold, kicking the door shut behind him, and headed straight for the fridge like the world hadn't just tilted on its axis. I pulled back from Ryan, my heart slamming against my ribs like a trapped bird, cheeks burning hotter than the July sidewalk outside. Ryan chuckled low, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand, but I could see the flicker of unease in his eyes too, the way actors do when the fourth wall crumbles. "Your roommate's chill," he whispered, but it came out more question than statement. I forced a nod, muttering something about grabbing waters, and bolted to the kitchen, where Jake was already rummaging through the produce drawer. His broad shoulders hunched like he was dissecting an onion instead of pretending my life hadn't just spilled out in front of him. "Practice going well?" he asked without looking up, slicing into a bell pepper with the precision of a guy who'd grown up gutting fish on his dad's boat in Maine. His voice was steady, that easy drawl he'd picked up from summers in Boston, but there was an edge to it, like a guitar string tuned just a hair too tight. "Yeah, it's for the play. You know, Echoes in the Attic? The kiss scene." I leaned against the counter, arms crossed to hide the tremor in my hands, watching the knife flash under the fluorescent light. Jake and I had been roommates for 2 years now, ever since we'd bonded over a Craigslist ad and a mutual hatred for overpriced craft beer. He was the finance major turned Wall Street hopeful, all crew cuts and protein shakes, the kind of straight guy who high-fived after touchdowns and quoted Springsteen like scripture. Me, Alex Rivera, theater kid from Queens, scraping by on barista shifts and auditions that led nowhere. We'd built this rhythm, late-night FIFA marathons, shared grocery runs, him blasting podcasts on macroeconomics while I belted show tunes in the shower. It was safe, simple, until Ryan. Jake nodded, not missing a beat. "Cool. Sounds intense. Need any pointers? I mean, I've seen Rent." He shot me a wink, that trademark Jake smirk, and for a split second, I wondered if he was mocking me. But no. His eyes were clear, the same warm blue they'd always been when he dragged me to Knicks games or force-feed me his grandma's clam chowder recipe. He plated the peppers, tossed some chicken on the stove, and started whistling Thunder Road, like the universe hadn't just handed him my biggest secret on a silver platter. Ryan cleared his throat from the living room. "I should head out. Got lines to memorize." He gathered his script, backpack slung over one shoulder, and gave me a quick peck on the cheek that felt more like a lifeline than affection. "Text me later?" We nailed that scene. I walked him to the door, promising we'd run it again tomorrow, my mind a whirlwind of what the hell just happened. As the latch clicked, I turned back to find Jake plating dinner for 2, like this was any other Tuesday. "You eating?" he asked, sliding a fork my way. "Figured you'd be starving after all that." Method acting. I sat, poking at the stir-fry, the steam curling up like unanswered questions. "Jake, save it, man." He cut me off with a wave, forking a massive bite. "Your life's your life. I'm just the guy who pays half the rent and doesn't touch your weird herbal teas." He chewed, swallowed, then added softer. "Besides, I've known for a while. The rainbow stickers on your laptop aren't exactly subtle." My fork clattered against the plate. "You, what?" He shrugged, that boyish grin cracking through. "College, Alex. We're all figuring shit out. No big deal." And just like that, the knot in my chest loosened. Not gone, but bearable. We ate in companionable silence, the sizzle of the pan fading into the hum of the city below. Horns blaring, laughter spilling from fire escapes. The endless pulse of Brooklyn that made you feel both invisible and invincible. That night, As I lay in bed listening to Jake's snores through the thin wall, I replayed the moment. The door opening, his non-reaction. Like a scene I directed myself. Relief washed over me, warm and tentative, but underneath it simmered something sharper. The ache of wanting him to see me, not just tolerate the version I'd hidden. Little did I know, Jake's no big deal was the biggest lie he'd ever told himself. The next few weeks blurred into a fragile normalcy, the kind you tiptoe around like cracked ice. Rehearsals with Ryan intensified. Echoes in the Attic was this off-Broadway gem about two men in 1950s Manhattan. Their love a ghost haunting the spaces between McCarthy hearings and closet doors. Ryan, with his tousled brown hair and easy laugh, was perfect for the role of the brooding artist. I was the wide-eyed journalist, chasing stories and stolen glances. Our director, Lena, a chain-smoking force of nature with a tattoo of Virginia Woolf on her forearm, pushed us hard. "Feel it!" she'd bark from the wings. "This isn't porn. It's poetry. Make me believe they're drowning in each other." And God, we did. In the dim light of the Black Box Theater in the East Village, our kisses evolved from mechanical pecks to something raw, the script's words weaving into breaths and touches that lingered too long. Ryan's hands on my waist felt like anchors, steadying me against the pull of my own confusion. Because as much as I threw myself into the role, my mind kept drifting to Jake. The way he'd linger in the kitchen now, asking about my day with questions that bordered on probing. "How's the boyfriend?" He'd tease over breakfast, flipping pancakes with a spatula like it was a sword. Ryan wasn't my boyfriend, not officially. But Jake's casual digs landed like pebbles in a still pond, rippling out unease. One rainy Thursday, after a grueling 12-hour day of blocking scenes, I stumbled home soaked to the bone, script tucked under my arm like a shield. The apartment smelled of garlic and basil, Jake's attempt at Italian night, which usually meant Jared sauce and boxed pasta. He was at the stove, sleeves rolled up on his button-down, the one he wore to his internship at Goldman Sachs. Finance suited him. Sharp suits, sharper mind, the kind of guy who could charm a room full of suits into handing over their wallets. "Look at you, drowned rat," he laughed, tossing me a towel. "Rough day saving the theater world?" I dried my hair, collapsing onto the couch. Lena's on a tear. We ran the confession scene 5 times. I'm hoarse. The scene where my character finally admits his love. Words tumbling out in a Greenwich Village cafe. Rain pattering on the awning like hesitant applause. Ryan had nailed it, his eyes shining with tears that weren't faked. And for a moment, I'd forgotten the stage lights altogether. Jake poured me a glass of cheap Merlot, our ritual, and sat across from me, legs sprawled like he owned the world. "Confession, huh? Bill, what's the big line?" I hesitated, the wine warming my throat. It felt too exposed, reciting it here, in our living room with the peeling wallpaper and Jake's gym bag slumped by the door. But his gaze was steady, encouraging. So I cleared my throat and let it fly. "I've spent years chasing shadows, Tom. Stories that don't bleed, faces that don't haunt. But you're the ink under my skin, the word I can't erase. I love you, and it's killing me to pretend otherwise." Silence stretched, broken only by the distant rumble of the F train. Jake's fingers tightened around his glass, knuckles whitening. "Damn," he murmured finally. "That's heavy. You sell it?" "Think so." I took a sip, watching him over the rim. His jaw was set, eyes fixed on some invisible point across the room. "Jake, you okay?" He snapped back, flashing that grin again. Too quick, too bright. "Yeah, man, just reminds me of home. Dad always said emotions were for poets and suckers." He stood abruptly, clearing plates with clatter. "Hey, parties at Mike's this weekend, finance bros and their spreadsheets. You in? Could use a wingman who doesn't drone on about yield curves." I laughed, but it felt hollow. Mike was Jake's old lacrosse buddy from undergrad, the epitome of bro culture, keg stands and conquest stories. I tagged along once, nursing a beer in the corner while they swapped tales of sorority hookups. Sure, as long as I don't have to explain method acting. As he washed dishes, humming off-key, I wondered if the crack in his armor was real, or just the wine playing tricks. That night, Dreams tangled the script with reality. Ryan's lips morphing into Jake's, confessions whispered in the rain, doors opening to judgments unspoken. The first real fracture came at Mike's party, a sprawling loft in Williamsburg where the air hung thick with IPA fog and bass-thumped indie rock. Jake had dragged me there under the guise of team building, but I sensed the undercurrent, the way he'd been orbiting closer lately, touches lingering on my shoulder during movie nights, questions about Ryan veering into territory that felt like jealousy wrapped in jokes. "So, when do I get to meet this guy who's stealing my best bud?" He'd asked that morning, over coffee black as his mood. Now, amid the crush of bodies, guys in slim-fit chinos, girls in crop tops scrolling TikTok, I nursed a seltzer, scanning for an exit. Jake was in his element, holding court by the makeshift bar, retelling a story about closing a mock deal at work. His laugh boomed, magnetic, drawing eyes like moths. But when his gaze found mine across the room, it stuck. A beat too long, loaded with something I couldn't name. Ryan texted, stuck at callback. "Miss our scene. You good?" I typed back a thumbs up, but my thumb hovered, the words "I think I'm falling for someone else" itching to escape. Because that's what this was becoming. A quiet unraveling, Jake's chill facade cracking under the weight of my growing certainty. I'd always known I was gay, knew it at 15, fumbling through crushes on the soccer captain in the locker room showers. But Jake? He was the straight line I'd drawn around my heart, the safe harbor. Until he wasn't. A girl sidled up to Jake, blonde, leggy, the type who'd grace a J.Crew catalog, her hand on his arm as she laughed at whatever punchline he'd dropped. He leaned in, charming as ever, but his eyes flicked to me again, shadowed. Then Mike clapped him on the back, sloshing beer. "Jake, buddy, tell Alex about that time in Cabo. The one with the yacht and the—" Jake's face tightened. "Nah, man, ancient history." But Mike, 3 sheets to the wind, barreled on, voice carrying over the din. "Come on, when you hooked up with that bartender, swore you'd go straight edge after. Or was it the other one, the dude from the club who—" The room didn't exactly hush, but it felt like it did. The words landing like a dropped mic. Jake's grin vanished, replaced by a mask of steel. "Drop it, Mike." Low warning. But Mike, oblivious, guffawed. "What? Alex knows you're bi-curious, right? College experiments and all that shit." My seltzer turned to ash in my mouth. Bi-curious? Jake? The guy who dated cheerleaders in high school? Posted thirst traps with bikini-clad exes on Insta? I stared, waiting for the denial, the laugh that would shatter the illusion. But Jake just rubbed his neck, muttering, "It was one time, asshole. Drunk spring break bullshit." Then, to me, quieter, "Ignore him. He's wasted." The party swirled on, but the air between us thickened, charged like the moments before a blackout. I slipped out for air on the fire escape, the city lights blurring through a haze of rain. Jake found me there minutes later, 2 fresh drinks in hand. "Hey, sorry about that. Mike's got a mouth like a fire hose." I took the drink, our fingers brushing electric again. "Bi-curious, huh? That's news." He leaned on the railing, city wind ruffling his hair. "Not really. Just not something I advertise. Dad's old school. Men don't do that shit. And Wall Street? Forget it. Easier to play straight." His voice cracked on the last word, vulnerability peeking through like sunlight through blinds. "But you're out there owning it. Kissing dudes in our living room. Makes me, I don't know, envy that guts, maybe. Envy." The word hung, heavy with implication. I wanted to press, to peel back the layers, but fear clamped my throat. Instead, I clinked my glass to his. "To experiments, then." He smiled, faint but real. "To not pretending." That night, back in the apartment, the silence was different, thicker, expectant. We crashed on the couch for a late night, The Office binge. His shoulder brushing mine, the laugh track mocking our unspoken tension. As Michael Scott bungled another firing, Jake's hand found my knee, not accidental, not retreating. My breath caught, heart thundering. "Jake!" "Shoo!" he whispered, turning to me, eyes dark with intent. "Just let me try." And then his lips were on mine. Not scripted, not rehearsed, but real as the rain tapping the window. Soft at first, tentative, then deepening with the hunger of years denied. His hands cupped my face, thumbs tracing my jaw, and in that moment, the world narrowed to the taste of Merlot and mint, the warmth of his body yielding against mine. It was the kiss that broke the dam, flooding everything we dammed up. But dawn brought clarity and consequences. The morning after tasted like regret wrapped in sunlight, the kind that filters through half-drawn blinds and mocks your choices. Jake was already up, brewing coffee with the focus of a man avoiding eye contact. I padded into the kitchen in boxers and a faded Hamilton tea, the memory of his kiss still buzzing under my skin like static. Last night had spilled over from the couch to my bedroom door, where we'd paused, breathless, him murmuring, "This doesn't change anything, right?" before vanishing into his room with a ghost of a smile. "Morning sunshine," he said now, sliding a mug my way. Black, 2 sugars, just how I liked it. His hair was tousled, shirt untucked, but his posture was all business, like he'd suited up for battle while I was still in dreamland. "Morning," I sipped, the bitterness grounding me. "About last night. Water under the bridge." He cut in smooth, flipping eggs with a spatula that might as well have been a shield. "Fun experiment. No strings. No strings." The words landed like a slap, casual cruelty disguised as nonchalance. I set the mug down harder than intended, ceramic clinking against formica. "Experiment? Jake, that wasn't." "Look, Alex." He turned, eyes earnest but edged with panic. "You're my best friend, Rumi. The guy who talks me off ledges after bad dates. This," he gestured vaguely between us. "It's confusing as hell. I like women. Always have. Last night was curiosity, booze, whatever. Let's not make it weird." Weird. The word echoed, twisting the knife. I'd spent years curating this life, hiding crushes behind sarcasm, channeling longing into roles on stage. And now, the one person I'd let glimpse the raw me was shoving it back in the box, labeled freak show. "Right?" I managed, voice steady by sheer will. "Not weird, just practice." He winced, but nodded, plating the eggs like an apology. We ate in silence, the sizzle of the toaster the only conversation. By the time I left for rehearsal, the apartment felt smaller, the walls pressing in with unspoken accusations. Ryan noticed immediately, of course, actors read rooms like Braille. "You okay?" he asked during a water break, his hand light on my arm. We were in the green room, scripts splayed across a folding table littered with energy bar wrappers and half-empty Starbucks cups. "Yeah, just roommate drama." I forced a smile, but it cracked at the edges. Ryan's eyes softened, that intuitive spark that made him a killer scene partner. "Want to talk? Or run lines?" Distractions, my middle name. We opted for lines, retreating to a corner where the fluorescent buzz couldn't drown us out. But as we dove into the play's pivotal argument, the one where lovers hurl truths like grenades, my delivery faltered. "You think love's a choice? It's a goddamn thief. Steals your sleep, your sanity, leaves you hollow." The words choked out, too close to home, and Ryan broke character, pulling me into a hug that smelled of patchouli and empathy. "Alex," he murmured, "whatever it is, it's not the end of the world." But it felt like it. Jake's experiment replayed in loops. His lips firm and seeking, the way he'd sighed my name like a prayer. Was it pity? Rebellion against his dad's ghost? Or, God forbid, something real, buried under layers of denial? The uncertainty gnawed, a dramatic irony I couldn't script my way out of. That weekend, the cast threw a read-through party at Lena's brownstone in Park Slope, a sprawling affair with fairy lights strung like stars and platters of vegan sliders that no one touched. Ryan and I arrived together, his arms slung casual around my shoulders, a platonic shield against the what-ifs swirling in my head. The room buzzed with theater folk, the set designer with her neon hair debating Freud with the lighting tech, a chorus of laughter rising like smoke from hookahs passed hand to hand. Jake texted midway through, "Wall Street crawl tonight. Join? Need backup against these sharks." I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. Backup. like I was just the funny sidekick, not the guy whose heart he'd toyed with. Busy with cast thing, I replied. Rain check. His response pinged instant. Cool. Have fun. Don't do anything I wouldn't. The ellipsis hung, loaded. Ryan glanced over. Everything good? Peachy. I pocketed the phone, but the weight lingered. Lena clinked a glass for toasts. To echoes that resonate, to attics we burn. And the night dissolved into improv games and whispered flirtations. Ryan pulled me aside during a lull, his breath warm against my ear. Hey, about us, or not us. If you're into Jake. Wait, what? Panic flared. How? You're transparent as hell on stage, Alex. And off. He grinned, no malice. Just that gentle Ryan way of cutting through bullshit. If it's him, go for it. Life's too short for what-ifs. But if you need a date to make him jealous. He waggled his brows, and I laughed real, for the first time that day. You're the best fake boyfriend a guy could ask for. Damn straight. He punched my arm, then tugged me back to the circle for charades, where I mimed a heartbroken banker to riotous applause. But as the night wore on, Jake's text echoed, a siren call to confrontation. By midnight, buzzed on spiked punch, I excused myself and stepped onto Lena's stoop, the Brooklyn air crisp with autumn's edge. I dialed. He picked up on the second ring, background roar of a dive bar. Clinking glasses, rowdy cheers. Alex? Thought you were cast-locked. Change of plans. My voice came out steadier than I felt. Meet me at the bridge? Brooklyn side. Now. Silence, then. The bridge? It's late, man. Exactly. I hung up before doubt could creep in, hailing a car that smelled of pine air freshener and regret. The Brooklyn Bridge loomed like a steel harp under sodium lights, cables humming with wind and distant traffic. I paced the pedestrian path, collar turned up against the chill, rehearsing lines in my head. Not from the play, but from the script of us. Why'd you kiss me? Why pretend it was nothing? Ryan's words buoyed me. Go for it. Headlights swept, and there was Jake, stepping out of an Uber, trench coat flapping like a cape. His face was flushed, booze or cold. Eyes scanning until they locked on mine. Alex, what's this about? You okay? No. The word burst out, raw. I'm not. Because of you. Because you walked in on me and Ryan, acted like it was laundry day. Then you kiss me. Like it means something, and call it an experiment. What the hell, Jake? He recoiled, hands up like I was a cop with a taser. Whoa. No whoa. Talk. I stepped closer, the river's murmur underscoring my pulse. I've been pretending my whole life, hiding who I am because guys like your dad, like Mike, make it feel like a crime. But you're supposed to be my safe space. And now you're the one gaslighting me. His jaw worked, shadows carving hollows in his cheeks. It's not God, Alex, it's not that simple. He raked a hand through his hair, pacing now too. That night with Ryan? Gutted me, seeing you like that, happy, real. It hit me how much I want that, with you. But I'm scared shitless. What if it's a phase? What if Wall Street chews me up for being this? He gestured wildly at himself, voice cracking. I grew up hearing man up like a mantra. Kissing you? Felt right. Too right. So I panicked. The confession hung, a bridge of its own. I reached for him, fingers grazing his sleeve. Then don't panic. Be scared with me. He searched my face, then pulled me in. Not a kiss, but a hug, fierce and anchoring. His chin on my shoulder as the city lights danced on the water. Okay, he whispered. No more pretending. We walked back arm in arm. The bridge's span feeling less like a divide and more like a promise. But promises in New York have a way of fraying at the edges. The fragile truce held through November's gray chill, a tentative dance of firsts wrapped in the familiar. Jake started small, a hand on my lower back during grocery runs, guiding me through the aisles like I was precious cargo. Movie nights evolved. No more arm's-length cushions. He'd pull me close, my head on his chest, his heartbeat a steady Morse code under my ear. This okay? He'd murmur each time, voice rough with that Maine gravel, and I'd nod, tracing the veins on his forearm, marveling at how something so ordinary could feel revolutionary. Rehearsals became my escape hatch, the play's crescendo mirroring our own. Echoes in the attic built to the lover's flight. A clandestine train ride west, hearts pounding against the rattle of rails, McCarthy's shadow nipping at their heels. Ryan threw himself into it, his energy a bomb, but our chemistry had shifted. Offstage, we were confidants, dissecting Jake's latest gesture over post-rehearsal falafel. "He's trying," Ryan said one night, sauce dripping from his pita. "Give him grace. Straight guys unlearning toxic shit? It's like defusing a bomb blindfolded." I laughed, but doubt lingered. Jake's internship ramped up, 12-hour days crunching numbers for hedge fund princes who lunch at Per Se and Summer in the Hamptons. He'd stumble home wired on adrenaline and espresso, collapsing beside me with tales of boardroom battles. "Closed a deal today," he'd say, eyes alight. Felt like scoring the winning goal. I'd listen, chin propped on my hand, loving this version of him. Unburdened, alive. But whispers crept in. Sidelong glances at his phone when Mike texted group invites. The way he'd stiffen at baristas calling us, "You too." Thanksgiving loomed like a family reunion grenade. Jake's folks were flying in from Portland. Mom a retired nurse with a laugh like wind chimes. Dad the stoic ex-cop who'd pinned medals on Jake's lacrosse jersey. "They want the full tour," Jake announced over Thai takeout, chopsticks poised midair. "Apartment, your play, the works. Think you can play nice?" My stomach nodded. The play's kiss scenes? Hard no. But the rest? Meeting the parents who'd shaped this man I was falling for? Sure. As long as they don't grill me on my 5-year plan. He grinned, but it didn't stick. "Dad's traditional. Just be you. He'll come around." The airport pickup was a comedy of errors. Jake's mom enveloping me in a hug that smelled of lavender and lemon bars, declaring, "Alex, Jake's told us all about you. Theater star and coffee wizard." Dad hung back, appraising me with a firm handshake, eyes like Jake's but harder, weathered by decades on the beat. "Heard you're keeping my boy out of trouble," he rumbled, and I mumbled something about mutual rent paying. The apartment tour went smooth, ooze over the view of the East River. Us at Jake's meticulously organized closet, the finance bro tells. Dinner was my domain. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans almondine, the works. We ate crammed around the wobbly kitchen table, stories flowing like wine. Mom regaled us with Jake's childhood mishaps. The time he rescued a stray cat that turned out feral, stitches and all. Dad grunted approvals, even cracking a smile at my tale of bombing an audition for Wicked. Green skin allergy. Long story. But as plates cleared, the undercurrent surfaced. Dad leaned back, nursing his scotch. "So, Alex, Jake says you're in some queer play?" Bold choice. The room temperature dropped 10 degrees. Jake's fork paused midair. "Dad, it's fine," I interjected, pulse racing. "Yeah, echoes in the attic. About love in tough times. History's full of stories like that." Dad nodded slow, swirling his glass. "Love's love, I suppose. Just hope it doesn't distract from real life. Jake's got a future. Big firm. Family someday." His eyes flicked to Jake, pointed. "Can't let distractions derail that." Mom swatted his arm. "Oh hush. Alex is family now." But the damage rippled. Jake's jaw clenched, conversation veering to safer shores. The Blazers season, Portland's craft brew scene. Later, as they settled into the air mattress in the living room, I retreated to my room, Jake slipping in after midnight. "Sorry," he whispered, sliding under the covers. "He's from a different era." I pulled him close, his body warm and solid. "It's okay. I get it." "No." He propped on an elbow, moonlight carving his features. "It's not. I hate that he makes you feel less." His kiss was fierce, apologetic, hands roaming with intent that chased shadows away. We didn't go further. Boundaries respected, hearts bared. But in the tangle of sheets, I felt seen, cherished. The play's opening night arrived like a thunderclap, December's frost glazing the streets in silver. Lena's brownstone buzzed pre-show. Makeup artists wielding brushes like wands, actors pacing with talismans. Mine a locket from my abuela, engraved Corazon Valiente. Jake arrived with roses. Cheesy, perfect. His suit traded for a black turtleneck that hugged his frame just right. "Break a leg," he said, kissing my knuckles in the wings. Ryan shooting us a thumbs up from across the room. The house lights dimmed, curtain parting on our 1950s set. Fog-shrouded alley, jazz horns wailing from hidden speakers. My entrance, rain-slicked coat, fedora low, drew the first hush. Then Ryan, shadowed under a street lamp, our eyes meeting in that scripted spark. The dialogue flowed, electric. Barbs traded over bootleg gin, confessions coaxed in whispers. The kiss, our kiss, built slow, a crescendo of hesitation yielding to hunger, the audience's breath collective. From my periphery, Jake watched, face illuminated in the gloom, expression unreadable. When the curtain fell to thunderous applause, he was first to the stage door, pulling me into an embrace that crushed the air from my lungs. "You were incredible," he breathed. "Both of you." Ryan joined, clapping Jake's back. "Told you poetry, not porn." The cast party raged at a dive in the village. Shots of something blue and regrettable, toasts to sold-out houses. Jake fit seamless, charming Lena with questions about directing indies, even belting a off-key defying gravity when prompted. But as the night peaked, Mike crashed the scene. Uninvited, 3 whiskeys deep, entourage of finance clones in tow. "Jake, bro, where you been?" Mike bellowed, sloshing a drink. His eyes landed on me, then Ryan, gears turning. "Wait, this the queer theater gig? Shit, man, you're slumming it now." Jake stiffened beside me. "Cool it, Mike." But Mike, ego lubricated, pressed. "Nah, seriously. Remember sophomore year? That party where you—" "Enough." Jake's voice sliced. Low thunder. Heads turned. "You don't know shit about my life." Mike blinked, then laughed. Ugly, braying. "Oh, I know. Words out, buddy. Roomy here's got you on the rainbow train. Wall Street's gonna eat that alive." He turned to the group, voice rising. "Jake's gone full homo, kissing dudes, playing house. Bet Dad's thrilled." The bar noise dipped, eyes on us like spotlights. Ryan tensed, hand on my arm. Lena hovered, murder in her gaze. But Jake, my Jake, stepped forward, shoulders squared. "Yeah, Mike, I'm gay. Or bi. Whatever label sticks. And Alex, he's the best thing that's happened to me. So fuck off with your small-town bullshit." The words detonated, silence swallowing the room. Mike gaped, then muttered something about joking, slinking away with his pack. Applause erupted, slow at first, then roaring. From the cast, strangers raising glasses. Jake turned to me, eyes shining. "Sorry it took this." I kissed him then, public and unapologetic, the bar erupting anew. Betrayal? Mike's cheap shot? It stung, but in Jake's arms, it dissolved. Like echoes fading into attic dust. Or so I thought. Dawn brought the Real storm. The fallout from Mike's bomb hit like a nor'easter. Winds howling off the Atlantic to rattle our windows. Jake's phone lit up first. Texts from the bro pack. A mix of bro hugs. "Dude, you do you?" And ghostings that slice deeper. Then Dad called, voice tinny through the speakerphone as Jake paced the kitchen. Me brewing tea like it could fix fractures. "Son," Dad started, measured calm masking the quake beneath. Mike reached out, said some things. "That true?" Jake stopped, back to me, shoulders rigid. "Yeah, Dad, it's true. I'm with Alex. Love him." Silence stretched, eternal as a held breath. When Dad spoke, it was gravel over glass. "Love, that's a strong word for confusion. You throwing away everything, career, family, for this. It's not throwing away." Jake's voice cracked, boyish plea bleeding through. "It's me. Finally." Mom chimed in then, soft counterpoint. "We love you, Jacob, always, but this, give us time." Click. Line dead. Jake sank into a chair, head in hands. I knelt before him, fingers threading his. "Hey, that was brave." "Brave?" He laughed, bitter. "It was suicide. Dad's pulling strings. internships at his golf buddy's firm. One word, and poof. Then we pivot. I squeezed his hand. New York eats dreamers, but it spits out survivors. We'll figure it. He pulled me up, forehead to mine. Yeah, we. The kiss was salt-tinged, desperation and devotion entwined. But as he held me, I felt the tremor, the fear not just of loss, but of becoming the villain in his origin story. The play's run extended, word-of-mouth buzz from opening night turning echoes into a sleeper hit. Sold-out crowds, reviews in Time Out calling it a luminous gut punch for the post-Moonlight era. Ryan and I basked in it, bowing to whistles, but backstage, Jake became fixture. Bringing coffee runs, running lines with a finance-twanged accent that cracked us up. Yet cracks spiderwebbed. He'd vanish into calls with recruiters, emerging hollow-eyed. They ask about stability. He'd vent over late dinners. Code for not gay. Christmas crept in, tinsel tangled in fire escapes. Bing Crosby crooning from every bodega speaker. We decorated the apartment. String lights looped over the mirror where we'd first fought. A tree scavenged from the curb, adorned with playbills and Jake's lacrosse medals. Tradition, he declared, hanging my Echoes poster like a talisman. But his folks stayed silent, Portland a ghost on the line. New Year's Eve, the cast commandeered a rooftop in Bushwick, skyline glittering like fool's gold. Fireworks planned, champagne chilling. Jake and I arrived hand in hand, his thumb stroking my knuckles, a quiet rebellion. Ryan greeted us with hugs, slipping Jake a flask. Liquid courage, straight boy. The party pulsed. Indie folks strumming guitars, couples swaying to Phoebe Bridgers, the air crisp with promise. As midnight neared, Jake pulled me to the edge, city sprawled below like a circuit board. Resolutions? He asked, breath fogging. Survive, I quipped. You, be all in. His eyes held mine steady. No half measures. You in or out, Alex? In. The word sealed it, and as the countdown hit 0, fireworks blooming in explosive color, we kissed, deep, defiant, the world cheering our private victory. January brought the axe. Jake's internship evaporated. A polite email citing cultural fit. Dad's fingerprints smudged but invisible. He spiraled, pounding the pavement in Chelsea suits. LinkedIn DMs to alums. Nights blurring into dawn with whiskey and white noise. I'd find him at the kitchen table, spreadsheets glowing like accusatory eyes. It's fine, he'd insist, but his smiles were ghosts. One blizzard night, after a rejection from a boutique firm, we're looking for team players, he snapped. I was midway through a rent audition callback. Ironic, belting La Vie Boheme in a stripped-down loft, when my phone buzzed. Come home. Now, the apartment was a war zone. Takeout boxes strewn, Jake hunched on the couch, a half-empty bottle on the coffee table. They all know, he slurred, eyes red-rimmed. Whispers in interviews. Heard about your lifestyle. Dad poisoned the well. Jake. I reached, but he jerked away. You did this. The words landed like shrapnel, pushing me to come out. Your play, your openness. It's why I'm fucked. I reeled, breath stolen. What? I didn't. Yes, you did. He stood, swaying. I was fine, straightish, climbing. Now, I'm the gay cautionary tale. Thanks, Alex, for ruining me. The door slam echoed as he stormed out into the snow, coat forgotten. I sank to the floor, sobs racking, betrayal's bitter bloom. Hours later, Ryan found me there, callback forgotten. He didn't mean it, he soothed, bundling me into bed. Fear talking, but fear festers. Days blurred. Jake crashing on Mike's couch. Irony's cruel jest. Me burying in rehearsals. The play's final week a mechanical march. Lena noticed, pulling me aside post-show. Darling, you're phoning it in. What's the echo here? Everything. Tears hot. He blames me. She hugged fierce. Blames a thief. Steal it back. Closing night, house packed. Energy electric. Ryan and I poured souls into the finale. Lovers reunited on a windswept prairie. Vows exchanged under endless sky. No more addicts. I declared, voice breaking true. Just us, open as the horizon. Curtain fell to standing ovation, roses raining. Backstage, Jake waited, disheveled, eyes haunted. Alex, not here. I brushed past, heart armored. He followed to the street, snow dusting his lashes. Please, I was wrong. Drunk, scared. Dad called, apologized. Said he's proud, if I fight for what matters. He grabbed my arm, gentle. You matter. More than jobs, more than pretending. I searched his face, vulnerable, real. You hurt me, Jake. Deep. I know. Voice wrecked. Let me fix it. Please. The snow fell thicker, blanketing the world soft. I stepped into him, foreheads touching. Start with sorry. Sorry. Whispered litany. And then, forgiveness's kiss, tentative then true, melting the freeze. Spring thawed us slow. Jake landing a gig at a queer-friendly fintech startup in Flatiron, trading suits for hoodies, his laugh returning like birdsong. We rebuilt, therapy sessions in a sunlit office, dates at Coney Island Boardwalk, hands linked against the waves. Betrayal's scar faded, humanistic in its honesty. Love isn't flawless. It's the choice to mend. One June evening, rooftop picnic under string lights, skyline aglow. Jake knelt, ring glinting, simple band, engraved no more pretending. Marry me? Not for show. For us. Tears pricked. Yes. The city hummed approval, echoes of our attic finally free. Summer unfurled in sticky waves. New York's pulse quickening with rooftop barbecues and fire hydrant sprays cooling kids' laughter on asphalt. Jake and I settled into engagement's glow. A quiet affair, no Vegas excess, just us and a notary in City Hall. Ryan is witness cracking dad jokes to ease the nerves. To echoes that stick, he toasted afterward over dim sum in Chinatown. Chopsticks clinking like bells. Life recalibrated. Jake thrived at his new firm, analyzing impact investments for queer nonprofits, his spreadsheets funding scholarships instead of strip malls. Feels right, he'd say over breakfast, stealing my toast. Like I'm building, not just climbing. Dad visited once, awkward but earnest. A Yankees game, hot dogs mustard smeared, halting talk of respecting your path, progress inch by inch. My theater orbit expanded. Echoes greenlit for a Chicago run, Lena directing, Ryan and I reprising. Additions trickled in. A Netflix pilot about Latinx families in the Bronx, voice work for an indie game. Stability tentative as a tightrope, but ours. Yet the past whispered. Mike resurfaced via email. Apology laced with defensiveness. Heard about the wedding. Happy for you guys. Sorry for the shit I said. Beers? Jake deleted it unread. Water under. Let's not drown again. We honeymooned local. A week in the Catskills. Cabin by a lake ringed in birch. Days hiking trails moss-soft underfoot. Nights tangled in flannel sheets. Fire crackling confessions. Remember the bridge? Jake murmured one dusk. Us paddling a leaky canoe, oars dipping lazy. Thought I'd lost you. You almost did. I trailed fingers in the water, ripples spreading. But we echoed back. He laughed, pulling me close enough to tip us. Sputtering to shore, soaked and giggling. We made love on the dock, gentle, reverent, the sun dipping gold. No rush, no scripts, just bodies learning each other anew. Breaths sinking like a duet. Back in Brooklyn, routine-rooted U.S. Sunday markets at Grand Army Plaza, Jake haggling over heirloom tomatoes while I sampled cheeses. Trivia nights at the local pub, our team name attic dwellers racking wins. Friends multiplied, Ryan dating a sound engineer named Theo, double dates devolving into board game marathons. Lena's salon, where directors swapped war stories over sangria. But autumn brought a shadow, Dad's health scare. Prostate cancer, caught early, but the call from Mom, voice wobbling, sent Jake spiraling. What if he never? He trailed off, packing for Portland, me tagging along unasked. The flight was turbulence-tossed, mirroring his grip on my hand. Portland greeted gray, evergreens dripping, Willamette fogged. Mom hugged fierce at the airport, Dad waiting in the living room recliner, thinner but smiling. About time you punks showed. Hospital visits blurred. Sterile halls, beeping monitors, Jake reading financial journals aloud like bedtime stories. Dad softened, questions veering personal. How'd you know? He asked Jake one afternoon, for dripping slow. That Alex was. It. Jake glanced at me, eyes soft. The door. That night I walked in on your practice. Saw you happy, real. Wanted that, with you. He squeezed my knee. Took walking in on love to see it staring back. Dad nodded, weary wisdom. Should have walked toward it sooner. Later, to me, sorry son, for the walls. Break 'em down for him. We stayed through chemo's first round. Mom's lemon bars a constant. Jake and I tag-teaming dad jokes to coax laughs. On the flight home, Jake slept on my shoulder, Portland shrinking below. We're good, right? He mumbled awake. Better than. I kissed his temple. Echoes eternal. Winter wrapped us cozy. Holiday lights twinkling from our fire escape. Tree baubles clinking to Ella Fitzgerald. The play toured Chicago's windy acclaim, then Seattle's rain-lashed run. Jake joined for opening, front row, his applause loudest. Backstage, roses and a note. Proud of my leading man. Spring bloomed reconciliation. Dad's remission party, virtual from Portland, screens glowing with toasts. To second acts. He raised a glass, Mom beaming beside. Our first anniversary hit humid July 4th. Fireworks over the East River. Us on a blanket in Domino Park. Skyline bursting color. Jake unpacked a cooler. Craft beers, Nana's chowder and thermoses. A playlist of our songs. Springsteen bleeding into Rent anthems. Year 1, he said, clinking bottles. Think we make it to 2? I leaned into him head on shoulder. All the way. But life, dramatic as any script, tested. Fall brought Jake's promotion VP track, travel to London, Tokyo. It's us, he promised, packing suits. Video dates. Red ice home. The distance stretched. Time zones mangling calls, his texts laced exhaustion. I dove into a new gig, Off-Broadway Angels in America revival. Prior Walter's AIDS ravaged fire fitting too close post-dad scare. Rehearsals bled into nights. Ryan my anchor. He's orbiting, not leaving. Thanksgiving solo. Me at Lena's turkey dry, wine-flowing stories. Jake FaceTimed from a Heathrow lounge, jet-lagged grin. Miss you. Home soon. He was December 1st, airport reunion kiss airport security approved. But jet lag unearthed cracks. Him snapping over misplaced keys. Me withdrawing into lines. We're fraying. I confronted one snow-dusted night, post-argument over forgotten laundry. He deflated. Scared. Success feels fragile. Like if I blink, it vanishes. You vanish. Then grip tighter. Therapy resumed. Sessions unpacking ambition's thorns. Love's not a zero-sum, our counselor said. Glasses perched. Build together. We did joint goals. Buying a co-op in Bed-Stuy. Adopting a mutt named Atticus. Holidays healed. Portland Christmas. Dad hail. Toasting family redefined. By spring, Angels closed triumphant. Jake's Tokyo stint ending in a ringside sumo match selfie. Summer found us house hunting. Atticus tugging leashes through brownstones. This one, Jake declared. Sunlight slanting through bay windows. Echoes of home. Closing day, keys in hand. We danced in empty rooms. Waltzed to phantom music. Laughter echoing true. Years layered. Atticus graying. Dad visiting with grandkid tales. Cousins, for now. Ryan's wedding to Theo. Us best men trading vows. Jake's firm boomed. Queer-led initiatives earning Forbes nods. My equity card arrived. Roles stacking, TV arcs, a Broadway whisper. 10th anniversary. Catskills Redux, Lake Same. Us weathered but whole. Canoe steady now, no tipping. Still in. Jake asked or paused. Always. Kiss sun warmed. Ripples eternal. Life's drama? We scripted our own. Betrayals mended. Conflicts conquered. Love the through line. Human flawed hours. No addicts left to haunt.